You might have heard that the US is not the only country to roll its rovers on Mars' surface. On May 14, 2021, the Chinese Mars mission called Tianwen-1 successfully landed on Mars. Zhurong Rover was the main part of the mission, and now it's rolling on Mars and giving tons of important information to Chinese scientists. We got interested in the mission and decided to thoroughly investigate it, and also answer main questions about it. The mission was sent aboard Long March 5 rocket on July 23, 2020. In less than 10 months, they successfully landed on Mars with an orbiter and a rover. Also, Chinese scientists claimed successful connection and started the mission as it had been planned. But today, we'll look into the Zhurong Rover and the Long March 5 rocket. With this mission, the Chinese showed that they are the nation to take into account in terms of space exploration. They're the second nation in the world to reach Mars, and they have some more astonishing plans for their future space missions. Let's find out more. The 10th month journey on Long March 5. Were there any problems? Up until 2020, Chinese space exploration authorities had been using their Long March 5 rocket for orbital missions only. The main task of the rocket is to lift loads to the low Earth orbit, so I brought satellites and other equipment to space. In the future, they want to take to low Earth orbit 2 modules of the Chinese space station with the help of the Long March 5 rocket. Also, they're going to try and build a moon-based lab or station using these type of rockets to deliver modules. But for now, the main role of the rocket is Tianwen-1, mission to Mars. As you can see, the rocket isn't really that fast. It took 10 months to reach the red planet, but everything was completed according to the initial plan, so Chinese specialists never reported of any problems. The launch was successful, and then all missions was completed with no delays or troubles. The Long March 5 rocket is actually the third most powerful space rocket in the world. It only sees Falcon Heavy and Delta IV Heavy in front of it on the list. The total length of the vehicle is 60 meters. Its weight is about 643 tons. The maximum payload for low Earth orbit is 25,000 kilograms, but experts say it should be 23,000 kilograms, and maybe around 14,000 kilograms for geosynchronous transfer orbit. There have been a couple of versions of different tasks. They're all different in terms of engines and stages, but they're quite similar if we talk about technology. You shouldn't tell anyone that these rockets are very technological. Comparing them to SpaceX new rockets, these ones are very old in terms of technology, but still, they complete their tasks and do it really well. There was one failure in July of 2017. All other launches have been successful. Zhurong Mars Rover. How does it work? The technology of sending any type of vehicle into the space is quite hard. You aren't supposed to control everything in real time, so you'll need to calculate everything precisely. One mistake, and the whole yearly mission is failed. The rover was sent to Mars' surface with the help of a parachute, aeroshell, and retro rockets. They helped the rover to reduce the speed of descent and safely touch the surface in the exactly planned spot in Utopia Planitia. This is a 6-wheeled rover which is powered by 4 solar panels, and here, Chinese experienced first problems. They couldn't get enough solar energy to charge the rover so that they could use it without stopping the mission often. The problem is connected to dust storms on the surface of Mars and different amount of solar energy than on Earth. The rover with its landing platform weighs around 240 kilograms. They needed to use retro rockets to safely land it. Otherwise, the rover would just fall into pieces after hard contact with the surface. But thanks to Martian gods, the rover successfully lifted the landing platform on May 22nd and started gathering pictures and scientific data for China. The instruments on board are astonishing. There are 6 main instruments that the Chinese space engineers decided to include on the Zhurong rover, and they ensure that the scientists get all the complex information about the landing spot and the area where they will use their rover. The first instrument is ROPER, the ground-penetrating radar. It uses magnetic fields to actually see what happens under the surface of Mars. Estimated depth of its radars is about 100 meters, and we believe that Perseverance rover cannot do this. Then there's ROMAG. That is the Mars Surface Magnetic Field Detector. We still know so little about Mars that it's highly stupid to send any kind of manned mission to this planet. The data about its magnetic field will help us understand if the area is appropriate for a human. Also, there's MCS, which stands for Mars Climate Station. It includes multiple sensors to measure temperature, pressure, and humidity if there's any, and other atmospheric data. The next instrument is Mars Code, or Mars Surface Compound Detector, that will use lasers and infrared spectroscopy to study the surface, landscape, and find any changes on the planet. Of course, there's an instrument called MSCAM, or Multispectrum Camera, for sending video to the Earth. The camera has multiple settings, so scientists can use it for filming in different circumstances. There's also NATOCam, Navigation and Topography Camera. This is a set of cameras that will create the most up-to-date map with all needed data for where the area of the Zhurong Rover landed. How much did they spend and why? You may know that China is one of the fastest developing countries in the world in terms of economics. When a country has enough money to spend, it starts doing basically two things: investing in military muscles and sending people to space to show their technological superiority over the other countries. So, China probably decided to enter the new space race. The recent space race between the US and the Soviet Union resulted in a man walking on the moon. Will this one result in a man walking on Mars? We still don't know, but it seems that it can be real in a couple of years, thanks to these new technologies. Chinese authorities haven't disclosed the cost of the Tianwen 1 mission, but we assume that it was approximately the same or even a little more expensive than Mars 2020 mission by NASA. Americans spent $2.1 billion to deliver the rover to Mars. We believe that the Chinese spent around $2.3 billion as they needed more technology for the mission. These expenses are huge, but if we talk about the space race, it's only beginning. Dozens of billions will be spent for test flights only, and probably a manned mission to Mars will cost over $100 billion to conduct. It's quite interesting that the lifetime of Chinese rover is around 90 sols. It's currently more than 90 days, and we believe that they won't have enough time to use their instruments correctly and to measure all features of Mars' atmosphere well enough to prepare a manned mission. In this case, NASA has the advantage. The Curiosity rover has been traveling around the red planet for 10 years and it's still active. The Perseverance rover isn't gonna die in 3 months either. If you're into conspiracy theories, you can find a lot of sci-fi ideas of using the Zhurong Rover. Some people say that it's there to search for water on Mars, and we can't agree with it, because all the instruments are actually appropriate for the attempt to find some ice. Others say that the only aim of the Zhurong Rover is to find Martians, but we believe that these Martians had a lot of time to interact with the Curiosity rover and to show themselves if they wanted. And so, there are theories that China has already built a spacecraft capable of carrying people to Mars, and the only one Zhurong rover to check the landing spot to Mars and prepare something for the humans to arrive. But we don't think that it has something to do with reality, because for building such a spaceship, you'll need to significantly raise the cruising speed of the spacecraft, and there's still no technologies for this available. We hope Chinese scientists will tell the world if they find something really cool on Mars with their Zhurong rover, and we'll keep tracking the news to let you know if they receive such information.